Welcome to Schein Chats. I'm Jennifer Kim Field, Chief Sustainability Officer for Henry Schein, and I'm so delighted to be joined by Dov Sydney, International Editor and Director of Global Communications for International College of Dentists. So thank you so much for joining us, Dov.
Thanks for having me.
So first, tell us a little bit about who is and what is the International College of Dentists?
Well, the International College of Dentists, which just celebrated its 100 years of existence, is 12,000 members in 127 countries. And those members became members by having been nominated by peers for their contributions to dentistry and in the full range of opportunities, education, humanitarian programs, and things like that. And what we do as an organization is to try and help the underserved and those that have not had the opportunity to get good quality care or any quality dental care, and that's done through our hundreds of projects that we support throughout the world, actually.
So pretty incredible that you're a 100-year-old organization. It's actually older than Henry Schein. We're only a mere 90, so 10 years behind you. I'm sure you've seen and done a lot, so much with your fellows, as you just mentioned, the tens of thousands of fellows and members that you have. You mentioned humanitarian aid and support. How is that done? And talk to us a little bit about what projects or issue areas do you focus on? You're in so many different countries. There's so much global need that's happening, particularly with the effects of the pandemic, the Ukraine humanitarian crisis. How do you choose?
Well, it's a good question, and we are literally a boots on the ground operation. In other words, ICD dentists in whatever country, in whatever community, are able to find or are found by the community to provide assistance in whatever the needs are. So they know the community, they know the project, they may already be involved in one way or another. And we are not limited in terms of why we help, because we're helping whoever needs anything in the field of oral health, but it can be spread out wide. For example, in Pakistan, there was these huge floods, and we helped support a ICD medical unit. So it wasn't just dentistry, it was dentistry and medical care and helping psychologically with those that were in need. And most recently in the Ukraine, we had a project where we raised money through the USA Foundation and USA members and Henry Schein, and we distributed the Henry Schein healthcare kits. There was toothpaste and soap and towels and just basic things that people needed. And of course, Henry Schein made sure it was delivered in the Ukraine, and that part you know more about than
yes.
We do, because we didn't do the delivery.
Right, so for our Hygiene Pack program, and thank you for that, we partnered with our two nonprofit partners, longstanding nonprofit partners, MedShare and International Medical Corps, who did the distribution in Ukraine, as well as in surrounding countries for those displaced Ukrainians that were affected by the humanitarian crisis. So thank you so much for your participation. You all were the highest number of engagement that we had from your members through your fundraiser, so we can't thank you enough for that. Because of that, we actually delivered over 27,000 hygiene packs for people in need, which is great. So I can only imagine how important partnerships are then. So if your members are trying to find the need on the ground to figure out how to solve for that, can you tell us a little bit about, or give us some examples of why partnerships are critical and what they've done for you?
Well, the main thing about partnerships is that each side, having shared values, is able to understand the needs of the overall project. And no entity has a monopoly on all the talent. And so we may provide the boots on the ground, and we have access because of our expertise in crossing borders and getting things done. But Henry Schein has the materials and all the infrastructure that we need to be able to get those products to where they have to be. And I think so, if you ask me what's the most important part of the partnership, is that there's shared values and the goals are similar, and that the needs or the talents that each partner has complement each other. That will make it work well. And also trust. The importance of humanitarian work has been overshadowed in many cases by companies or organizations that didn't live up to the high ideals that we hope that everyone would. And I'm feeling very fortunate, I think all of us at the ICD, that Henry Schein has always lived up to that. And that's why we continue this partnership that's been going on for over a decade, actually.
Appreciate that. Building trust is so hard to do, though, in this divisive day and age, right? Both from a global perspective and an economic perspective, and certainly a political one. But how does one build trust? So if you had any recommendation for our viewers who are out there right now, who are either wanting to give back in their communities or wanting to build partnerships, what are some of the recommendations that you might give to them?
So I think the first thing in building trust is to understand who your potential partner is. And like any job interview, you need to interview or examine the organization that you're going to deal with. In the case of the college, you know, we sit with our partners and we sit with individuals. We talk about what we do. We talk about the transparency of what we do and how we create relationships, what they're based on. And the companies, same thing. I mean, many companies have come to us to try and connect with our projects, but it's clear that they have, let's say, motivations that are less than what we're looking for. So yeah, I think the shared values is what does it. And then you get the people together. And when they're together and talking about different things, it can be just about life, but you see you have a compatibility,
right.
And that's the way you start out.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice for our viewers that out there. It's almost kind of like dating. I love that analogy, right? In terms of if you're trying to get to know an organization or an entity,
yes.
It's very much like, yes, trying to find a mate of some sort,
yes.
In terms of getting to know one another. But that compatibility, I really appreciate, and the transparency of what that means. Anything else that you have as we sort of close out the Schein Chat?
Yeah, I'm just going to say any company that is adverse to giving you that kind of information probably is a good sign that you don't want to go along with them. I think that the most important thing is that dentists appreciate as a group that what we're doing is a service and an honor to be able to provide that service to people who, for the most part, can afford the care, and they come to our offices and we take care of them and they pay for it and they say thank you.
Right.
But there are so many who need the same care, same quality of care, and they're not getting it. And many dentists have found that joining with some organization that is providing this care gives them the sense that they're giving back. And that's what a lot of dentists, and I think a lot of employees and team members want to feel, that their organization is giving back. They see they're doing well, so they say, well, we should be giving something back. And I think that is what influences people to join these kinds of partnerships.
That's excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us and taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us. And you heard it here, giving back is doing good for a community, but also doing good for so many others who are in need. So thank you so much, Dov, for joining us.
Jennifer.
And
thank you
all for joining us as well for our Schein Chats.